major races in our state that are still too close to call all these days later. In the governor's race, Katie Hobbs right now maintaining that lead of about 26,000 votes over Republican challenger Kari Lake. Some interesting numbers expected later on tonight, but right now let's break it down by zooming in a little bit, see how these two are doing in the particular counties. Here in Pima County, as you might expect, Katie Hobbs holding a 60% to 40% lead. Santa Cruz County, an even bigger advantage for Hobbs, but in Cochise County, there's Kari Lake doing what that you expect her to do in a county that leans red. And in Maricopa County, well, the numbers, they are still fairly close as well. Let's now go to the next race, and that's Senate. And that's Mark Kelly still maintaining that big lead over Blake Masters, 115,000 now with 78% of the vote tabulated so far. Again, big drops coming up. Let's now go to the next race, which is Attorney General, a statewide race. And for Attorney General, we've got Chris Mays leading Abe Hamaday. That difference right at 16,000 right now. That continues to stay about the same. Secretary of State, we haven't updated that for a while. It's Adrian Fontes over Fincham, 53% to 47%. That's a 109 vote difference. Let's check out some of the House races now. In particular, we're going to go to CD2 because Eli Crane last night projected the winner by the AP over Tom O'Halloran, so the incumbent knocked out there. And in CD6, we haven't showed this for a while either, Juan Ciscomani with still a 2 percentage point lead over Kirsten Engel. The difference, 5,541 votes. So that maintains the lead for the Republican. We'll see if that continues as we go back here to the governor race. I wanted to let you know that we are expecting a drop of perhaps 80 to 90,000 votes from Maricopa County, around 8 tonight. Right now, Maricopa has an estimated 353,000 ballots still to count. According to the Secretary of State's website, Pima County has about a little more than 114,000 votes left, but we're expecting a dump of numbers from them within the next hour, so that number could and should shrink a little bit. Across the state now, we're looking at still 508,000 ballots to count, a number that will continue to shrink throughout this evening, but it's going to be a while, folks. It might be Sunday or Monday. We'll continue to give you live updates of election results on air and online at KGUN9.com. Well, Tucsonans were able to honor veterans today with a parade downtown, a new route giving more space for the bands, vehicles, and people who came to honor veterans and their service. A lot of the spectators came to honor members of their own family who served in the military and instilled a sense of service in their lives. Andy Trujillo says that inspired him to a life of service as a firefighter.
We have a bunch of people in our family tree that have been in the fire service, and I think just serving our city, serving our country in one form is real important to us.
Veteran families say they deal with their own struggles when a family member is in the service as well. This is a day to honor those currently serving, who have served, and who have in the past given their lives.
It's our holiday, you know. What group of people has a holiday like this? It means everything, you know, to be recognized.
Recognition is only the first step. The VA shows fewer than 50% of veterans in need receive any mental health treatment. Now, suicide is a leading cause of death for veterans, often brought on by PTSD and depression. These don't simply go away, but as one veteran found out, they can be managed. Jarrell Wester is served in the Coast Guard for over a decade before being medically discharged. He says depression followed. Wester says he planned to take his own life, but decided not to go through with it.
I just wanted something that would say, like, someone to ask me, like, hey, you know, you look like you need help.
He ended up seeing an advertisement on a cup, Canines for Warriors. That group works to connect trained service dogs with veterans suffering from PTSD. Wester called the group and he was told his first step would be a call to the VA. After a year of therapy, he was partnered up with his service dog.
She helps me kind of carry around my burdens but make them more manageable. Sorry. It's okay. See, this is what she's trained to do, right? It's okay. It's okay.
He says the battle with depression and PTSD is not something you have to fight alone and encourages others to ask for help.
It was really scary for me. It was scary for me, but that's what I needed. I needed to hear somebody say, we can help you.
Now, before he called the VA, Wester says he called the National Suicide Hotline. That number is a 988, remember, just that 3-digit number now, and they have a special option for veterans. Well, K9s for Warriors has its West Coast headquarters in Heidi's Village in Phoenix, and since 2011, the organization has matched more than 700 veterans with service dogs. Ryan Fish in for Kyler Diggs. Ryan, we could see right there the benefit of those dogs helping those veterans.
It's just so heartwarming to see that, and an important message there too as well, to ask for help if you absolutely need it, and that is something, especially for veterans, that we need to always remember. Taking a look outside for our radar, it was a beautiful Veterans Day out there. All that activity, the rain and snow is to our east, and mostly clear skies with some clouds moving in, but really nice temperature-wise today as well. Currently looking at 66 in Tucson and those 60s across southern Arizona. Really beautiful Friday. Good weekend ahead too, but we've got some changes on the way. The details are coming up in the full forecast. Pat, send it back to you.
All right, Ryan, we've seen a little bit. A butterfly garden is finally ready for the historic Blenman Elm neighborhood. It serves as a place of peace for the community, but more importantly, a dedication to the person who started the garden. 9 on your side's Raina Preciado tells us the story behind the Jackie Kinman Butterfly Garden.
Jackie Kinman was a scientist with a passion for monarch butterflies. 2 years ago, she was looking to set up an area in her Blenman Elm neighborhood for butterflies to stop during their migration. She came to this area, which was completely overgrown at the time, but she saw potential.
As we looked around, we saw butterflies flittering around in the different plants that were already growing here, and Jackie was just thrilled.
Alan Michael Buss efforted the project with Jackie for their neighborhood association. He remembers seeing her true passion the moment they first saw what is now this butterfly garden. Jackie Kinman died from cancer a few months after they decided that was the spot, but Alan didn't let that stop him from fulfilling Jackie's dream.
Jackie's family told me that when they told her, even on her deathbed, that this would happen, she smiled.
He says it's been a process, but thanks to the community, the garden has bloomed to fruition. Now it serves as a place of peace for all.
So we built it thinking that it would be for butterflies, and it is for all types of pollinators, but it's also been a nice place for community to gather, for people to gather.
Michael Buss says that's exactly what Jackie would have wanted, and that will be celebrated tomorrow during a dedication in her honor.
We will have musicians here, artists, all people who have been, who live in the neighborhood. So I think that it creates a sense of community.
Saturday's event is open to the public, so if you're looking to view the dedication, participate in a plant swap, or just enjoy local artists, this is the place to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow. In Tucson, Raina Preciado, KGUN 9 on your side.
A beautiful garden in a beautiful part of Tucson. TPD's former police chief making headlines less than a year ago when he became the CBP's new commissioner. Now he's making headlines again, leaving the position. Why? Sources say he's being forced out. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Former Tucson Police Chief Chris Magnus is being forced out as the head of Customs and Border Protection. That's according to the Associated Press. Chris Magnus serving as CBP's commissioner for less than a year. Two people familiar with the situation telling the AP he was told to resign or be fired. This all comes after illegal crossings rose to their highest level ever recorded in a fiscal year. Arizona authorities say a motorist high on meth made an unexpected but very illegal purchase yesterday. Payson police say officers found this injured wild owl inside of a car with a man accused of driving under the influence. The man was apparently driving with the bird right beside him. Officers say the driver told them he paid a stranger $100 for the wild animal at a gas station. The driver is facing several charges, including aggravated DUI, possession of methamphetamine, and the possession, transport, and purchase of wildlife. As for the owl, Arizona Game and Fish has taken custody of it. Coming up next, 3 major uncalled propositions in our state. We'll check in on those numbers. But first, we're going to check in on a little bit of weather. And Ryan, I know, well, it started out chilly today, but it certainly turned out to be a pretty nice day.
Beautiful night out there right now. Take a look at the current conditions and a look at the Catalinas right now. This is from Tumamoc Hill. 66 out there. We're approaching sunset in just the next few minutes here. And it's going to be a nice night and a nice weekend ahead. We'll have the details about the changes on the way and when things will cool down again coming up in your full forecast right after this. You're watching KGUN 9 at your side.
Another look at a statewide race that is too close to call. It's Superintendent of Public Instruction. Right now, the incumbent Katie Hoffman is up 50% to Horn's 50%, but it's a difference of 3,576 votes right now. Again, we have a lot more ballots to count. We should be getting some of those numbers coming up tonight. That would be Horn trying to knock off the incumbent, but Horn, of course, has already held that office in the past. All right, let's take a look at some of the propositions now, some of the ballot measures. Well, Prop 131 would create the office of Lieutenant Governor in our state, beginning with the 2026 election. The yes votes pretty much run away with this one, 55% to 45%. If this passes, the Lieutenant Governor would succeed the governor instead of the Secretary of State as it stands now. Now to Prop 308. A yes vote would allow any Arizona student, regardless of immigration status, to be eligible for in-state tuition at our state universities. Yes has a slight lead right now of about 44,000 votes. And Prop 309 would require the an affidavit accompanying an early ballot and return envelope to be capable of being concealed when returned. This is still pretty close, but the no's are ahead with 51%, the yes with 49%.
Now, KGUN 9 on your side, first warning weather.
We're approaching sunset right now, and here's a live look from central Tucson west over the Tucson mountains, and there you see it there. Beautiful picture right now with the clouds streaming overhead, those mixed clouds, and then the sun going down there. It's going to be a beautiful night tonight and a beautiful weekend ahead. Tonight, there are a few local games going on, high school football, most in the playoffs. If you are heading out for a game or any event tonight, might want to bring that jacket with you, because if you linger into the evening this evening, you're going to be down in the 50s by 8 or 9 p.m., but light winds out there and no rain, so good news there. 68 currently in Tucson, or I should say this was the high temperature today. We have dropped a little bit at this hour. 68 in Tucson was the high today, 70 in Marana, and we got to the low, maybe mid 60s across Cochise County. You see Douglas there is checking in at 64, 63 for most of the other locations out there, and we were in the mid 70s in western Pima County today. So really pleasant Friday. That's pretty seasonal, a little bit cooler than average, but overall a pretty pleasant day. So wind speeds right now, not that strong, thankfully. We are seeing maybe some breezes here or there in those teens. Otherwise, single-digit sustained wind numbers. That is not that strong, and that's going to continue into Saturday as well. Not looking at a whole lot of wind. Pleasant, calm day on Saturday and a sunny day as well. You take a look here, starting in those chilly numbers and then back up into the 70s once again in the afternoon with plenty of sunshine, cooling down into the 60s around 7 p.m. Here's a look at the upper level temperatures, the darker colors, the cooler air, and you can see this system passing closer. Tomorrow we warm up a little bit. Sunday, stay temperature-wise the same, but we do get some wind from this system moving in. The winds will pick up a little bit on Sunday, and as we push forward into next week, here's another system passing through that will cool down those temperatures for us. So enjoy this weekend, because it'll be nice and warm and the temperatures will kind of dial back once we get back to next week. 43 overnight tonight in Tucson. We're looking at the 30s across Cochise County and even 29 in Wilcox. So it will be chilly tonight and tomorrow morning, but warming up nicely, similar to what we saw today. 60s up into those upper 60s for Cochise County, 74 for Tucson. So again, noticeably, maybe not noticeably, but a modest warm up. Not a huge warm up, but it's going to be warmer this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, into those 70s once again. And then take a look here, back into next week, we do drop back into those 60s, a bit cooler, a bit more fall-like, and the wind does pick up a couple of days next week as well. So this weekend is going to be stellar. Next week, a little bit on the cool side.
We'll enjoy it while we have it. All right, Ryan, thank you. The iconic red kettles that mark Christmas around the country are almost back. The event they held today to help them kick off the annual drive. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. It's getting to be that time. The Salvation Army kicking off their holiday season today with a luncheon here in Tucson. The event at the DoubleTree raising money for the Red Kettle campaign. It goes to food, clothing, and shelter for people who need it in our community. Today's event included a silent auction for participants. Those who attended also got to choose locations for the Salvation Army's iconic red kettles this season.
We have a shelter, we have feedings that we actually have to-go meals for the people that are homeless. We also have kids programs at our Amphi location and our South location. We're trying to make sure that there is enough funding for everybody in our social services as well.
Each year, the Salvation Army helps more than 25 million Americans in need. Such a great organization. Ryan's going to have last check on that forecast. Not quite Christmas weather just yet. Stay with us. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. It was definitely chilly this morning, but it did warm up nicely.
And that's kind of the trend that we're in and what we're going to see this weekend, too. You see those lows sticking around in the 40s, but this weekend, nice in the mid-70s around Tucson.
We will take it, Ryan.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not at all. Thanks for watching. World News Tonight's next. We'll see you back here at 6. Now on KGUN 9, days after the polls closed, Arizonans are still waiting on final results for several key races. We have the latest numbers as ballots are being tallied. Plus,
but I would say the best thing I ever did was, ask for help.
the mental health struggles veterans face every day and the resources available to help them. KGUN 9 News at 6 starts now.
On air, online, on your side. You're watching KGUN 9 News at 6.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pat Paris. Heidi Alaga has the night off. Today, of course, Veterans Day. It was a day to take to the streets to honor veterans and their lives of service. 9 on your side's Craig Smith was in downtown Tucson for the Veterans Day Parade.
Veterans Day is the day to honor all veterans, living and dead, and Tucsonans turned out to say thanks.
Hi, thank you for your service.
Quite welcome. Right. For participants and spectators, the Veterans Day Parade is pride on display, but gratitude too.
Veterans, military personnel are out there, putting their lives on the line, and we enjoy our freedoms because they're out there doing that for us.
And one of those people who putting their life on the line was you.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that, please.
I was in the Marine Corps from 1999 to 2003.
Weston Laredo says his family history helps him appreciate what people willing to fight for our country preserve for us all.
My dad was a combat medic in the Army. I had an uncle, my